And in the Impact segment tonight, as you may know, Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl scheduled to be in a military court on July 8th to answer charges of desertion and misbehaving in front of the enemy. President Obama secured his release from the Taliban in Afghanistan last May, then lionized the sergeant in a White House meeting with his parents. As cons, all kinds of angst, and today there is even more trouble. Joining us now from Washington, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer has been following the Bergdahl story for us, and Fox News Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge. What is new on the Bergdahl story, Catherine?
Well, we've been talking for the last week, Bill, with 4 of Bergdahl's teammates. 3 of them spoke to us on the record, and they confirmed that they had this informal meeting in December 2009, 6 months after Bergdahl walked away, with Admiral Mike Mullen, who is the president's chief military advisor and also the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. They've been pulling security for the Admiral as he did this tour through Afghanistan. And it's pretty standard for Mullen to, kick out the leadership, the higher-ups, so that he could speak candidly with these lower-level guys, these enlisted guys, and that's what they say happened here. This one guy, Matt Verkant,
four of Bergdahl's platoon mates talked directly to the Admiral, who is President Obama's top military advisor, and told the Admiral that this guy was a deserter and this guy did all kinds of nefarious things. Is that correct?
Well, the guy, Matt Verkant, said to him, look, Bergdahl deserted, walked away, and what these 3 guys said was, Mullen agreed. He said, yeah, I know the circumstances, but we still got to go get him. And that's a big admission, because that takes this knowledge of the Bergdahl case to the most senior levels of the administration just 6 months after he walked away, not 4.5 years later, right? When the family was invited to the White House.
It begs the question that why would a president of the United States trade 5 top Taliban commanders who within 2 weeks will be back on the battlefield, I guarantee you, fighting Americans, for a deserter when he knew he was a deserter. But even worse, Colonel Shaffer, why do you have the dog and pony show with the sergeant's parents from Idaho praising the sergeant when you know his conduct was unbecoming? So I don't understand that. That becomes a big story.
Well, it does. And if you go back, Bill, and look at the time this happened with the Rose Garden ceremony, Mike Mullen was actually asked about the deal. And the BBC reported that Mullen said basically, oh, this is great because we negotiated with the Taliban. That was the big headline. This is politics at its finest, or unfinest, depending on your perspective. Admiral Mullen was in the tank for the president clearly through this entire process. When I was first briefed on this in 2012, Bill, when I was asked to advise on this issue, I was told very clearly the indications were that he deserted. So the question becomes, did Mullen actually, did the buck stop with Mullen? Did he actually hold this information back for at least a period of time and not tell the president?
No, that's impossible. Not like bad news? Don't you think that's impossible?
No, because all the intelligence community was completely focused on this. I've talked to 2 senior intelligence officers, Bill, who were involved directly in the search for Bergdahl.
No, but I'm agreeing with you, Colonel. I'm agreeing with you that Admiral Mullen could not have failed to tell President Obama about the circumstance, particularly because there was an Army investigation underway and completed before. So absolutely, we have to assume, Catherine, that the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, knew that Bergdahl could very well be charged with what he's eventually been charged with, yet went ahead to try to sell the deal to the American people by saying that Bergdahl, was a good guy, or whatever the words that he used. Boy, I just think that's misleading, and then you could use other words as well.
Yeah, you could. Look, based on our reporting now, Mullen had a sense that Bergdahl had walked away just 6 months after the incident. Yet 4.5 years later, the public was told something very different. Mullen only reported to 2 people, the Secretary of Defense and the President of the United States. That's it. So this reporting takes it right into the White House. So today, Mullen declined our offer to do an interview. He sent us a statement basically saying we were committed to getting Bergdahl, and we didn't have a lot of clarity at that point. Everyone we've spoken to says there was real clarity on the fact
if the
that he
4
walked
guys
off the
spoke
base.
to Mullen themselves, then Mullen has one of 2 choices. He cannot believe the 4 guys, and why would he not do that? Why? 4 guys are talking to him, tell him. All right? Or he's misleading you now by saying he didn't have any clarity. It's one or the other.
I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, no, Bill, I agree.
All right, Colonel. Go.
Well, no, I got to say, this is the intellectual corruption at the senior level which permeates into the whole service and has caused the morale problems you and I have talked about several times here. It is this sort of thing, these senior officers who are confronted with the facts, who become politicians in uniform rather than standing up to their oath of office and their responsibility to the troops and doing this. Further, this guy, Mullen, actually was the guy in charge of the Accountability Review Board for Benghazi. So, to me, in my judgment, based on his response to Catherine's reporting and his lack of clarity and candor, I think he's in the bag with these guys completely, utterly.
No,
and it's
the
unbelievable.
Indication, and we have to say that the general's a patriot. He served his country. But the indications are that you're right, and I'll add one more. This investigation should have been wrapped up months ago. And it dragged on, and I think the only, and this is, I'm conceited, I know, the only reason they had to do it was because of us. Because you kept coming on the air going, what are you doing?
On top of it.
We know you had it. We know you have the information. How long are you going to sit on it? All right? And then finally they had to, charge him with desertion and conduct unbecoming in front of the enemy. Misbehavior.
Right.
So anyway, all right, good. So now we have another layer. We know the president knew. We know Admiral Mullen, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, knew that Bergdahl had big problems, but they did not impart that to the American people, and that's wrong. Good reporting, Catherine, Colonel. We appreciate it.